Dungeon Master's Diary, Entry 2. The party have found David Steinbrook in the northwest section of the dungeon. However, in their search for David, they uncovered a room sealed off with an indestructible door. Behind it, the voice of their comrade. However, upon uncovering the real David, they only could wonder what is behind that indestructible door sealed off from the rest of the dungeon. David, after surviving an attack from the bone claw that he had aggravated, found that it would remain still upon turning your back to it and reading from a tome. The connection is not inherently true, but with a little bit more field testing, they might be able to ascertain the actual nature of why it stopped. Perhaps its master told it to stop. Who knows? But now they have uncovered the last glyph to open the door to the next floor. And in doing so, unveiled a statue of Aglica, the lioness, a queen from the Feywilds, to which the Dreadlord Ciro Alaen was once her suitor. The statue appears to be somewhat alive, capable of moving in some manner of speaking, for they uncovered the remains of a skull lord impaled with the stone sword that belonged to the statue. Upon reinstating the item to the statue along with the shield embedded in the doorway, the statue moved aside, unveiling a small box beneath, and inside a piece of a painting that depicted Ciro Alaen in his better years. Upon inspecting the pictures almost close together, they magically bonded, and the two figures in the picture, Aglica and Ciro Alaen, turned to face each other. The remaining pieces that could trigger next motions are yet to be found, but the treasures that they have found along the way are definitely going to assist in the coming years that they have to endure. Now they intend to venture throughout the entirety of the first floor, ensuring that no stone is left unturned. Of some of these stones, one was the most bizarre. A door, about 10 feet up on a wall, with no staircase leading to it. Henra, the resident storm sorcerer, flew up to it and managed to open it. In doing so, a pile of treasure blocked up, poured out, and almost knocked him to the ground. They uncovered some pretty unremarkable treasure, whereas Dotrin, the barbarian of the ancestral Guardian Path, found a scarab of protection. I, as a DM, realizing this, generated by the random magic item tables available to me, I almost screamed internally and externally at the same time, but chose to keep my thoughts to myself. However, it does create as a bit of a problem for Dotrin, the character, as he is attuned to the Witch of Numir, which is a sentient phylactery of a ship, which consumes 2 of his attunement slots. What other item he is attuned to, I believe it is a Vorpal sword. I'm not 100% sure on that. During the deadlier traps that they have triggered, I realize that this dungeon will be easier given that the 2 NPC paladins that they have brought alongside the barbarian, the fact that these paladins have an aura that slowly regenerates health within the vicinity, it can basically feel like a get out of jail free card, is what I tend to think of it. So in doing so, I looked at some of the traps that I had laid out and thought to myself, double the damage on it, and we'll see where we go from there. And alas, it did go somewhere, but not for long. For Dodrin, the door-crashing maniac that he is, decided, hey, this wooden door isn't too bad, I'm going to kick it in. And he does so. Aggressively, very successfully. But a guillotine trap cuts his leg off, doing, I believe it was somewhere in the region of about 170 points damage. Just clean cut through the leg. And then Sir Lorcan of Aegon decided to run up and basically just reattach the limb with lay on hands, because paladins can do that apparently. I can only assume that some of the treasures they have found, Daron, the artificer, found the Stone of Queens, which is a sentient stone made of malachite. If it deems you unworthy to wield it, it racks your body with a very powerful curse that basically turns you into a very horrible mess, as Daron quickly found out, even rolling quite high in the 30s for his Constitution saving throw. It caused him to bleed profusely, and was the first instance of bleed damage for a long time, actually. I haven't used bleed damage on any enemies so far, but, some of the guys do listen to this, so I'm just going to say, don't worry, there's nothing upstairs that will hurt you more. I'm lying, of course, but I'm not going to tell you where. As of now, I have plans in place for when they enter the strange room that's sealed off. It is locked, and all they need to do is get Sir Lorcan to open it. Because that man can never roll lower than 51 on his Thieves' Tools check. If he wasn't a paladin, he'd be a mighty fine thief, if I do say so. But alas, it is not the paladin way, as he would probably mention. It's not for adventure! But I feel as though, because the party is a lot bigger than what I anticipated it for, I obviously expected them to kill Lorcan whilst he was rusty and threatening and imposing to begin with. It would have been a hard fight. Yeah, because you're getting that sweet minus. Well, Toma was there, so getting a -7 to saving throws whilst in Lorcan's vicinity as you're an enemy. Um, but yeah, it's kind of an annoyance in my half. I don't like to say that out with. It's a challenge, but I will ensure that whatever the guys want to do with Lorcan, i.e., be trained by him, they seem to be adamant on taking Lorcan with them on their adventures. I wouldn't think he's gonna go with them. Based solely on his current situation, he has not seen the outside world in 400 years or so, just sort of sitting up, creating food and water, making sure he survives. But if they manage to give a strong enough justification, I might consider just double checking his personality traits again. As for Tank and Toma, who came with the party originally before they met Lorcan, they seem to be getting on fine. I haven't been giving them as much attention as Lorcan because the party will get to spend more time with Toma and Tank after this is done. Lorcan will immediately leave, from what I've so far ascertained. So I'm trying to give them as much time with his interactions as possible. Tank will always give a quick, humorous jab at the situation just to lighten the mood occasionally. If situations get bad enough where a party member dies, that's when it becomes a bit of a problem. Daron is the last surviving member of the original party, and I'm not really well known for killing player characters because my players are a lot smarter and more strategic than I am. I'm cunning and cruel. I'm not very smart. Somewhat. But I can write good characters. That's the intention. I know that if he dies, the party won't have a proper connection to the main storyline, and I will probably have to just cut short the campaign, and I don't want to do that. I have a lot of writing invested in that situation. I try to keep player characters alive as long as possible. Some just die due to the turn of the dice. The first player character to die, I believe, was the Blood Domain Cleric, who drowned during a fight. So what happens when you wear heavy armor, get attacked by a giant dog that can swim underwater and can hold its breath for a long time. They won the fight anyway. Lost someone. I think it was both the cleric and the fighter, actually. I can't remember when Jade died. But hey ho. It happened a long time ago. It happened back in I think it was December of 2018, along those lines. I think November, December. And now I was just seeing the party sitting there waiting on that level up that they'll get at the end of the dungeon. They're probably thinking it's going to be a big one. It's not going to be that much of a leap, but hey, they're coming out of here. I tallied up all the treasure they found so far on the first floor. There's 4 floors in this damn dungeon that I wrote, and they've already found about I think 500k. That's from random generated treasure. That sucks. What can I say? That's just my luck. But they have 2.5 years of downtime after this, so who's to say what they'll spend it on? Oh, well, actually, I know what one of the characters are spending on. They're going to Tybal Brim, having upgraded the shit out of their equipment, and that's it. I'm like, okay, that's completely, utterly reasonable. But There can be complications during downtime. I ain't telling them anything about that, but like I said, they'll listen to this a little, I don't know what you call it, podcast kind of, I guess, or a voice log, so vlog, but not video. But yeah, just realizing that these guys are gonna obliterate the floors above. With the speed they're going at, though, it's been what, 3 sessions now? Somewhat 3, 4 sessions, if I'm not mistaken. And I am dreading. And this is personally as a someone that has things to do in between, despite current situations. And the size of the next dungeon, if they are to go at the same pace that they have been going at, i.e., about 9 rooms a session, which takes about 6 or so hours, they would take, if I fully did the dungeon that's at the end of this campaign, it would take approximately 4 years. And I was like, I'm not happening. This isn't happening. There's 1,800 rooms in that fucking dungeon, and it's just gonna screw me over. And I thought, nah, not happening. I'm gonna take a quarter of this dungeon and just, there you go. Now it'll take probably a year, because no doubt someone will want to look in every single room, and I'll be so angry. Because it's not even the final dungeon. It's the second final dungeon. But I hope that, because dungeons are so linear and I can't put in much input or do much storytelling with it, I have to kind of use the environment to depict, or things that you find in there, like Aglica's statue, her paintings, some of the Fey Warden equipment, which is what because the Dreadlord that's in control of it right now was a Fey king and knew the Fey Warden it belonged to. There's a lot of storytelling to do. There's a chest for the dragon goddess, which is Tiamat, but I haven't explained why it's there. I haven't explained why Cryo's Boneclaw is there. I haven't explained why anything on Cryo is there. There are reasons, though, that I will elaborate at some point. Yeah. I am just hoping that they are enjoying this dungeon as much as I am currently. I'm conflicted with it at the moment. So there's not a lot of input I can have to make it feel a lot more spectacular or dreadful or immersive. It's kind of hard to do that. I've always been the open world guy and be like, okay, you can go here or here. But this is just, you're in a box. The box is full of monsters and deadly traps. Have fun. But hopefully the next floors, which will have a lot more creative freedom to them, and luckily it can be changed on the whim, because I've already written the whole dungeon, and it was based solely off the assumption they would kill Lorcan in his tent. So I'm going to have to go back and rewrite some of the stuff, because he makes everything a feckin' breeze. It's like, oh, it took damage. Just stand in Lorcan's aura for a couple of minutes. We'll have 130 HP back in 1 minute. That's okay. Like, fuck's sake. Fuck this. Or, oh, this door is trapped. Lorcan, investigate it and disarm it and open that door. 5163 for 50 something. It's like, yeah, I'm not even gonna roll for it. He's done. He's done it. Woo! Sometimes he will forget to investigate it, though. Sometimes the barbarian will just kick a door open and lose a leg. Who knew? One thing that is good about this dungeon is there's always something humorous that will occur, and it becomes essentially an in joke, which I find are the basis of a good D&D group. If you can just go to a table or an online session, which we do, we find something and make fun of it, and it becomes a running joke. And then all of a sudden, hey, next campaign, and something similar happens, and then we'll just make fun of it. There is an in-joke that we all brought up yesterday, because there was an additional session I could run, because why not? Albeit I was very drunk by the end of it, but I was only drinking for like a couple of hours. It's not too bad. They mentioned Daylight in the Underdark, which is a very old campaign meme. That's back from, I think, 2016, 2017 time? It must have been. Must have been around there. And they just mention it, and it just brings that little like in-joke back to light, and it's very nice. And now we have a new in-joke that's just called More Transfer Doctrine, or Name That Deckhand, or what else have we got? We Jesus, or we've got let's see, Tanks Pole Dancing, or what else have we got? Some really weird ones as well. There was Be the Brisket, and I can't remember what that was about. It was about something really stupid, and I love it. And then just Daylight in the Underdark. There was what was it? Tiff's vibe check, or scolding, which is a cantrip we made, which was a big joke. It's the dumbest thing. And what's it? There's another one that I can't remember because it was never brought up. Pulling a zook, that's the one. When you're late to the session because you've slept in. Yeah, I went off on a tangent here. It's just nice to sort of see where my mind goes when I talk about the session. And I'm just hoping that as of tomorrow, which is the next session, the actual day we were meant to do the session, I believe one of my players, the sorcerer, is going to be unavailable due to commitments. But that's fine. They still have technically 6 people in the party, so who knows? But the 3 players that remain will get all the loot, because I don't give my NPCs any loot unless there's only one of them. Because otherwise, we'll be sitting there for about 30 minutes whilst I run through the Dungeon Master's Guide, or run through my own made tables, or run through my homemade items. So I'm like, nah, screw this, just go. Just have these. Lorcan already has a shitload of magic items just sitting in a bag of holding somewhere. Or a portable hole. I think it's a portable hole he has somewhere. He has a lot of stuff. Yeah, the last room they are going into, and I couldn't wait any longer. I was so hoping they got to it yesterday. I was so hoping they would open that door. But they're smarter than I am. Oh, there's something waiting for them, and I can't wait for them to find out what it is. Because it's not going to be what they're expecting. It's going to be great. Yeah, it's pretty much... I won't know what happens until we finish the session tomorrow. So that'll be good. I'll see the second floor for the first time, and then, thankfully, it's a smaller room. Well, it's smaller floor size. So a lot less rooms, but there's scarier things in there, and there's like a lot less treasure, but it's worth a lot more. Or it's like powerful items, or gold, or blah blah blah. Or diagrams for making specific things, which some merchants use, i.e. Tidal Brim is the one guy that uses them. But yeah. I will close off this log now and just say thanks for listening to my long ramble, and I hope you all have a pleasant day and stay safe out there, adventurers. Until next time.